Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, muni muli wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the crowded mattress studios in the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville, in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We're so delighted and so honored that you join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, wherever you get your podcasts. Our guest today is Yobe Qiu. Yobe's returning to the show to celebrate I Am a Bold Asian Boy. Yobe and I will also be talking about how we can use great kids' books to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Month and all of the various awareness months that we experience here in the United States and beyond. We would also love to speak to all the authors out there. If you are an author, especially a self-published author like Yobe, you want to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Because when you go there, you see a button up at the top of the page that says Authors Click Here. By clicking on that button, you will find out how you can be a guest here on the podcast. And just like Yobe, come on the podcast and in a long-form conversation, tell the world about your fantastic book or books or brand, your inspiration. Talk about you. Being a guest is a great way to tell families how they can use your books to talk about important subjects like bullying or like Asian American Pacific Islander Awareness Month. Hey, when you also click that button at readingwithyourkids.com, you can also find out about our great Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. We've helped loads and loads of authors tell the world about their book, letting parents and grandparents and caregivers and teachers know that your book is worthy of their attention. Learn all about that and more by going to readingwithyourkids.com. Joining us once again is one of our favorite guests, and she has become a dear friend of mine. Please welcome back to the show. The author of the brand new children's book is called I Am a Bold Asian Boy. Our guest is Yobe Qiu. Hey, Yobe, how are you?
I am doing really well. I'm so happy to see you again, and thank you for having me back again. I love this podcast. This is my favorite place to be because of your energy.
Well, I am really excited that you're here. I just have to take a moment to acknowledge Yobe is such a dear friend. We're a couple 100 miles away from each other. Those of you who listen to the podcast are probably aware I had an injury and surgery, and when I came home from the hospital, I had a wonderful surprise. Somebody knocked at the door, and they said, "Here's dinner from Yobe Qiu." And it was absolutely delicious. My beautiful wife was so appreciative, and it was, I knew it was going to be delicious, but the fact that it was a gift from somebody that I care about and someone that cares about me made it even more delicious. So thank you so very, very much for that.
You're very welcome. Jed is being way too kind. He did not tell you what actually happened. He told you the good ending, but what happened was I had told him, don't order lunch. I'm going to make sure I get you lunch for you and your wife. And I got really busy and I forgot to order him lunch. So it was 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. I get a message from Jed and he says, "Hey, I just want to let you know that we've already eaten, in case you're wondering." And then I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot. Someone just got out of the hospital and I promised them all of these yummy food and I forgot to feed them. And I told my mom, and my Asian mom was like, how could you do that? I got in so much trouble. You have no idea. Like, you were so kind. You were so nice to me. I kind of just like, oh, it's okay. People make mistakes. My Asian mom was not forgiving. I got an earful. So I'm so glad.
Well, it was even better for dinner. It was just wonderful. And, you mentioned your Asian mom. One of the reasons that we're here today, in addition to celebrating I Am a Bold Asian Boy, is to talk a little bit about how we can use children's books to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and also beyond that, how we can use great kids' books to celebrate the many different awareness months that thankfully we're acknowledging now.
I think it's so important to use children's books to teach and raise awareness and inspire through stories for all of our everyday events, right? There are books about Christmas and children learn about Christmas. There are books about Black History Month, and I read that to my daughter all the time. And then there are books about AAPI Month that's coming up very soon. And one way to learn about that is through reading and looking at the pictures. A lot of the time, we know certain things about a culture, but we really don't know how it looks like. But once you kind of put that picture in front of you with the words and reading the story, it makes the magic happen. The children are now able to see something through pictures and say something, oh, that looks interesting. That looks like something else I have at home. They're making a ton of connections that they may not have the experiences and words to explain, but so much is happening in their mind when they're looking at pictures while you're reading to them.
Yeah. One of the things that we've celebrated so much here on the podcast is the fact that books can be mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. Of course, being able to see yourself reflected in the pages of a book is so valuable to kids. But also, I think that being able to look through a book to see into a culture that is different than ours, I think for the society is so very, very important, because it then allows us to go through those sliding glass doors and develop relationships with somebody that maybe, a generation or two ago would have been considered an other and somebody that we didn't associate with.
Right. I mean, it's always so interesting to learn something new. And I remember when I was growing up, I wanted to learn about all the different kinds of foods out there, all the different kinds of clothes that people wear, that's not in my culture, because it was just so interesting. And I think as children, they are naturally curious. They naturally want to learn. They naturally want to see what are the similarities, what are different. And that's our job as parents, as educators, as people who are older, to kind of help them and guide them through that process of exploring.
Yeah.
And this is something we do every single day. We just don't realize that we're doing it when children are asking questions and we're showing them pictures or pulling up books for them, or even videos online. I mean, it's impossible not to do that these days, but I will go on the website and find something for my daughter to see when she asks me questions.
And, it's interesting. I remember hearing so many times from my mom, from my grandmother, when I would ask about somebody that we saw in, being in Boston, it's a diverse city. In growing up, I would see people who were different from me, and I would ask my mom or my grandmother questions, and the response I got a lot of times was, "Don't ask questions, that's rude."
Oh.
And, it's like, no, it's not rude. I'm really interested. I want to know what folks from different parts of Asia are like and what their language is all about. I want to know what folks from Latin America are all about. And it just makes our world so much more interesting when we celebrate the diversity that's all around us.
Right. But back to that comment about don't ask questions, that's rude. I kind of see it, especially in this day and age too. We still kind of see that mindset around, because we're too scared to say something that may be offensive to someone else. Right? And I think that we have a lot of work to do as a country, just kind of overcoming that part. I think as long as we have good intentions, I encourage my child to ask questions all the time. I mean, I ask questions all the time. My husband's like, "Oh my God, don't say that." But there was no ill intention, and the other person, the receiving end, loves it that I ask questions. And when someone asks me questions, I'm so happy to answer it for them.
Hey, well, let's dig in a little bit about that, because one of the things I hear and I've heard is that it's very rude, and you can get into a lot of trouble now as an adult if you turn to someone and say, "Where are you from?"
Right.
And saying to somebody, "Where are you from?" is different than saying, Q, that's a unique name.
Right.
Where was your family originally from?
Right.
Can you tell the difference, why that is different?
I think there's so much trauma and there's so many issues that a lot of people are dealing with that when they're asked that question, eventually, like the defense wall comes up right away as the first thing for some people. Now, it's not for all. A lot of people, when they ask that question, where are you from? They will say things like California, New York, New Jersey, right? But what we should take a step back knowing that the other person might be asking, oh, where do you, they're not really trying to see which city you live in. Maybe sometimes they are. They're really genuinely trying to know where your ethnicity is, what your family's from, what is your history, so they can learn more about it. So whenever someone asks me that question, where are you from? I will tell them, I grew up in New York City. My family's from China. We came here when I was little children. Do you want to know more? Happy to give you more, right? So when I ask that question to other people too, where's your family from? Where are you from? And I don't see a lot of people taking offense when I ask that question, right? So I ask a lot of this question to my Asian community friends too, because not everyone's from China. Some people are from Korea. And I'm learning about new stuff when I ask that question. I think we don't have to be so scared of asking that question. Most of the time, people aren't going to take offense. So it is a very interesting part. I think people are just so scared these days.
Yeah. And I think it makes a difference as to how you say it with the tone of your voice, and also just adding what you said. Hey, where's your family from? Or do you mind me asking where your family is from? I think that kind of lets people know that you're being curious, that you're not that you're acknowledging that you are an American. You're here, you're living here, you belong here, but you're just curious to know a little bit more about you and your family.
Right, right. I mean, we have to kind of go in that circle now. Where are you from? What do you do? Where do you live? And then dig more and more and more. But we welcome those kind of questions. I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I do like it when people ask me those questions. So I see it as an opportunity to share a little bit about my culture, which is exactly what I do with all of my books when I tell them, this is my new book. And they will say, how did you get involved in writing this? And then I go on. I want people to ask me questions so I can have this opportunity to share a little bit about things that are important to me and things I want to educate them on.
So let's talk a little bit about I Am a Bold Asian Boy. Who are we going to meet in this book?
You're going to meet a lot of different little Asian boys that are from different communities. They are beautiful, they are bold, they are brave, they are bilingual. They are all different kinds of characters celebrating their unique self. I ensured that I don't have any boys, Jet, you know this, and that's why I wrote I Am Amazing Asian Girl, because I don't have any sons yet, hopefully. And then I had a hard time with this book. I wanted to go out to ask moms what was important for their little Asian boys, Asian American Asian boys, to feel, to be represented, to be included in this book. And I got a lot of different things that they want to be represented, right? But one of the main thing that came across was they don't look a certain way. Some of them have very dark skin. Some of them have very light skin. Some of them have curly hair. Some of them have straight hair. Some of them have light hair. They all look very different in this modern day. Some of them have glasses, and we want to celebrate boys who wear glasses. We want to take away some stereotypes that may be affecting little Asian boys or boys in general. We want these boys to kind of feel powerful, valued, and be happy, truly happy with who they are. Yeah. I think little Asian boys and little Asian girls kind of go through different things, and this book celebrates who they are and how they look.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I love about all of your books is that you acknowledge in a very beautiful way the fact that Asians come in all different shapes and sizes and cultures that,
like so many other people who are not Asian. That's just humans, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so important to remember that China is different than Korea, is different than Japan, is different than India and the islands, and it's
right.
And together we make this beautiful, beautiful world
Right.
that just has so many opportunities for our kids.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for AAPI month. I mean, after 3 years of COVID, a lot of places are locked down. We haven't had the opportunity to celebrate. So this year, 2023, a lot of schools are opening up for Lunar New Year celebrations. A lot of community centers are now talking about a bigger celebration for AAPI month. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm hoping schools and organizations and people will be more open to learning more about our culture.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you hope families will learn about Asian and Pacific Island cultures that, especially during this month?
I think that we are so diverse. I think there are so many layers of our community and our people. I think that we have so much history and we're so unique, especially the Asian American community. We are very American and then we're very Asian-like. I hope that they learn that we have so many things that we want to be celebrated for, through our clothing, through our food, through our language, and that we are a really good mix of just beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about books, and certainly a book, sitting down, reading a book with our kids, talking, taking a picture walk through a book with our kids is a great way to start celebrating these awareness months. But what other ways can we use books, especially now, to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Month? Are there different activities that you envision families using books with?
I do. After you read the book, it doesn't end there. We want to go to a restaurant, for example, look at the foods at the restaurant, go to a Thai restaurant, and then go to a Taiwanese restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, a Korean restaurant. There's so many restaurants and food that you can try. Go to a museum to see if there's things that you recognize in the museum that are connected to the books. This is what schools teach our little ones to do. We read about a unit, we study about a unit, and then we go out and see certain things. So for example, in the spring, the teachers will talk about plants and they'll take you to a garden. It's a very similar concept here. You read about AAPI books by different authors. We go to museums, we go to restaurants, we talk to our friends. When we call up a friend and ask a question and tell them things that you learned. Yeah,
absolutely. And there are so many really wonderful ways that families can get involved during this month. Can you think of any off the top of your head, big kind of community celebrations that we might be able to find in different cities throughout the country?
I think there are a lot of events that are happening. I know if they just kind of Google or go to your city website, type in AAPI Heritage Month events, it should come up. And if nothing comes up and you're one of those leaders in your community and you want to do something, feel free to just kind of bring a book in to read to your child's school. Feel free to cater some food and feed your teachers. It's also Teacher Appreciation Week sometime in May. There's just quite a bit of things that one person can do. And I think even calling a friend who are Asian American and just going to lunch with them, going to dim sum with them. These are a lot of things that you could do that you can show your child that you're all learning and celebrating and supporting your Asian American friends.
Yeah. Do you know what I think would be an absolutely delicious activity, and you could do it for the whole month?
Right.
Is just go and have like a dumpling month and have a dumpling from all the different, have Thai dumpling and a Chinese dumpling and a Northern Chinese dumpling and Taiwan,
You're actually that's a very fun activity to do. I didn't know, but there are like, Indian dumplings and then like Tibetan dumplings. I'm learning a lot about that. That would be fun, Jed. We should do that when I come visit you.
Absolutely. Hey, Yobe, I want to share this. I love that we are celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Month. And I love the fact that we are celebrating each other's differences and celebrating that diversity, and also celebrating the fact that we have so much in common, that we are part of this beautiful human family. I hope for one thing, at some point, that when your beautiful kids are older, my kids are older, maybe we'll get to the point where we start using a phrase that someone I grew up listening to. There was a talk show host here in Boston for years, and he was that overnight guy that talked to all the people who were abducted by aliens and seen ghosts and all. He just had this weird talk show overnight, and I would sneak my transistor radio in to listen to him. His name was Larry Glick. And people would call up and they'd go, Larry, I'm Italian American, I'm Irish American, I'm Asian American, Chinese American. He would always correct them. And he would say, no, you are an American of Chinese descent. You're an American of Irish descent. You're an American of whatever descent. And I hope that someday in the not too distant future, we'll get to that point when we're all recognized that we are all part of this beautiful American family, but we come from different places. But we came from different places to be part of the same family. And that's my goofy little hope for the future.
Right. But that's also what makes America so beautiful. So beautiful, where we are friends with anyone who wants to be friends with us and we want to be friends with. Mm-hmm. We can all come together for cookouts, for parties, and our kids go to the same schools. I think that's beautiful. I don't think they have that anywhere else in the world as diverse as we are here.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. Hey, you know what else would be a beautiful thing? Letting people know where they can go to find out more about you and find out more about this great new book, I Am a Bold Asian Boy.
All of my books are on all major retailers online, and I have them all on my website that I can sign and ship to all of my readers. My website is www.by, Yobe, my first name, Yobe, last name Qiu.com. My website, byobeq.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Yobe Qiu as well. Thank you for asking that, Jed.
Oh, I am delighted to do that. We've had a wonderful time talking about Asian American Pacific Islander Month, talking about I Am a Bold Asian Boy, talking about one of my favorite things in life, dumplings. And our guest has been our dear friend, Yobe Qiu. Yobe, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Stephen Joseph will be returning to the podcast to celebrate his brand new book. You don't want to miss it. Don't snooze. You miss all the news about the snoodles. Real important, real fun. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, Yobe Qiu. Please be sure to check out her website and all the wonderful books that she has published. I also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Stephanie Davila, Cassandra Masonet, Jordan Saley, Will Cheever, Rory Grady. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking to you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.